What's up everybody, I'm Seth Fowler and this is episode 9 of building a $20 sneaker collection. No way, I can't believe I actually hit on something. Man, this shoe is in great condition. If you've never seen an episode of this series before, basically the idea is to start off with just a $20 bill and slowly buy our way up to a pair of Nike mags, which currently sell for around $15,000 to $16,000. And of course, along the way we're going to try and build up a pretty sick sneaker collection consisting of retros, grails, and just any crazy cool sneakers that we can find. And if you're new to this series, this might sound crazy or impossible, but let me tell you, after 9 weeks of doing this, it's not. So the way that this series has gone so far is we took that $20 bill, we went to Goodwills and other thrift stores, bought sneakers, cleaned them up, and then sold them, and slowly started to build up a nice sneaker fund. And at the end of the last episode, the sneaker fund was at $427.94. And I know for some of you eagle-eyed viewers out there, that sounds a little bit off from what the actual number was at the end of the last episode, but that's just because my math was off. So currently we've got just over $420 in the sneaker fund to buy more product with. We've also still got some product available for sale online, which hopefully will sell throughout this week. And of course, I want to give a huge shout out to the person and the series that inspired this series, and that's Retro Rick's $10 game collection. But with all of that being said, let's dive right into it. So a spot that I don't go to a lot, but I really should go to more, is Circle Thrift in Philly. And it's kind of like a two-part thrift store. It's got Circle 2 and Circle 1. One's an electronics thrift store and one has clothing. And I've got to say that while their sneaker selection isn't always incredible, they always have sneakers that take me by surprise. For example, these Futures. This was the first time that I had seen a pair of Futures in a thrift store, and they were in pretty decent condition. Now, Futures don't sell for that much, and this was a women's size, something that I'm not too familiar with the pricing of. So because of that, I decided to let this pair go, but genuinely surprised that I found it. One thing that Circle Thrift has is this glass case for the more expensive sneakers, and as you guys can see, they've got a pair of Hyperdunks right here for $80, which I feel like is way too much. So I decided to keep looking at the racks, and you've got some decent everyday sort of stuff. I found this pair of Old Schools, and as you guys may remember from like the second or third episode, I got a pair of Old Schools and it took a lot longer to sell than I expected, and that's probably because these shoes retail for so little in the first place. I saw this pair of Adidas that I thought was a pair of Ultra Boost, but no, unfortunately not, just a pair of standard Adidas. That happens to me all the time. I was really surprised to find though this pair of Jordan 3s. Now unfortunately it wasn't in the best condition and it was a smaller size, and I've had trouble with not great condition Jordan sneakers in smaller sizes in the last couple episodes, as you guys have seen. They don't really move that quickly, and when they move for barely more than I've bought them for. So because of that, I decided to leave this pair for now, although I was tempted, I'm not gonna lie, I was very tempted to grab these sneakers, but again, it's because I love retro Jordans, and whenever I see them in a thrift store for a decent price, I want to grab them even though I can't wear them and I probably can't even sell them. So one of those things that's kind of nice to find, but I had to let it go. So I'm in Fishtown in Philly to get a haircut, and there's of course a really great thrift store like just down the street from where I get my haircut, so I had to stop by. Now, as you guys saw, there wasn't a lot of like crazy sneakers. I mean, there were some Jordan 3s that were in really good well, not in great condition, but for $25 in a size 5 wide, it wasn't worth it. I think I could probably sell it for around 25. And then there was also those Jordan Futures in women's size, which $10 wasn't bad. I think that was the only pair that I was actually considering. But I just don't think there's enough potential profit there for it to be worth it, because I think that model is just not very popular at all. However, I didn't show you guys this in the video because it's in technically a different part of the same thrift store, but I did pick up some video games just for myself. And this series, of course, is inspired by Retro Rick, so whenever I'm thrifting, I have to check out the video games. I just don't usually show you guys that, but I picked up 3 different games. The first is SSX Tricky for PS2, and it's in excellent condition. The price was $8, so it wasn't cheap. It was about market, but I really wanted this game. This is a classic game. I think I had it years ago, except without the cover art. So I'm stoked to finally have the cover art and have the game. And then also Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers, which is a game that I played just a bunch of back when I had it on the Game Boy Advance. So I've never played the PS2 version, so I'm stoked on this. Again, complete. It was $6, so that's all together $14. And then the last thing that I grabbed was an N64 game in a thrift store, which I've never found before, at least not when I've been recently thrifting. Found it for $3. Now, unfortunately, the title is kind of whack, but you know what? I wanted to grab it because it's the first time I've seen an N64 game in a thrift store, and it's $3, so I did it anyway. And that's Wayne Gretzky's 3D Hockey. I don't even know if it works. It looks like they test everything there. Like they had PS2s and PS1s, and they were testing Xboxes, and they were all priced pretty well. I was really surprised by that. So if you guys want to check out like a great place to buy older consoles, Circle Thrift 2 in Fishtown, Philly is a great place to go. But yeah, these were my pickups. Not sneakers, but not bad. So
On to the next one.
I know it's been weeks since I've seen anything found at Burlington on Instagram like Nike Dunks or anything like that, but I have to keep checking. I feel like maybe one day I'll stumble across something great, and unfortunately today didn't seem like it was that day. They did seem to restock the sneakers, which is always good to see. They had a lot of dress shoes, which is not usually what they have. They have a lot more sports shoes usually. I did find these pair of white and green Nike cleats. I don't find Nike cleats that often. I believe these are Vapor cleats. Now let me know in the comment section down below if this is a pair I should have picked up. It was a size 13. I don't know the price because I don't think there was a tag on it. And then I found the find of the day, which was this quote from LeBron that says, "You can't be afraid to fail. It's the only way to succeed, LeBron James." Now I have no idea why this was in the sneaker section of the store. I guess someone thought that this was the only good place to put it, but decided to put it back. I don't need that. I can just print it out myself. Unsurprisingly, they still have this pair of Adidas Boost sneakers, this pair of cargo colored sneakers. I really like it a lot. It's a small size though, and it just doesn't seem to move on eBay, at least that I've seen. So although I think usually Adidas Boost sneakers are a safe bet, this one was not one that I was willing to take. After that, I decided to hit up Ross, and I'm still looking for that pair of Nike Mars Yard 2.5s. Still hopeful, but not expecting anything. I did find this pair of Adidas Boost sneakers in this really nice colorway, this sort of like blue, white, and green colorway. A definitely interesting looking pair of sneakers, and one that I bet is comfortable, but I just don't know much about this sneaker, and when I looked up comparable listings online, it really wasn't going for that much. And I know, alright, I'm contradicting what I was saying earlier, that Boost sneakers are always a good thing to grab, but recently the Boost sneakers that I've been finding haven't been that great. Not surprisingly, I found more of these pairs of like weird Crocs at Ross that aren't really standard clogs, but they're sort of like a different take on the clogs with the Crocs logo pressed into the side and then these weird sort of like ridges on them. I don't know what the deal is with these. If they were standard Crocs, I probably would have picked them up, but not for me today.
I'm by Ross and I'm by Burlington. I had to stop by. Unfortunately, there was nothing, so it was almost not even worth stopping by. But you know what? At least I put my mind at ease, because if I drive past a Ross or Burlington and I don't go in, I've almost trained myself to think, man, there's definitely something in there. So at least I know that there wasn't. Was it worth 20, 30 minutes? I don't know, but at least we did it.
So finally, after weeks, we ended up selling the Adidas NMDs. This was a pair of sneakers that I picked up for $20 at Plato's Closet, and we finally ended up selling it for $39. Now, this was a pair of sneakers that I'd been holding on to for so long, and it had sold, and then people didn't pay for it, so I had to relist it. It was a whole big thing, and after all was said and done, I was able to add $33.54 into the sneaker fund. So because of the NMDs, the sneaker fund has jumped from $427.94 to $461.52. You know it's not an episode of building the $20 sneaker collection without hitting up Plato's Closet, the place that we've had the most consistent wins. And of course, there was a lot of sneakers in stock. And if I was just buying sneakers to rock, there was some pretty decent size 9 stuff that I really liked. The first pair that I found was this pair of Nike Vapor Maxes. Now, while this pair looks good and it looks like it's in good condition, one thing I didn't notice until I actually picked up the shoe and held it in my hand is that the air unit in the midsole is popped. Completely popped. I don't know how Plato thinks that they can sell this pair of sneakers, because as soon as you stand in this shoe, it'll completely collapse under your feet, but I was very surprised to see this shoe in store because that's ridiculous. I've never seen anything like that before. Speaking of air units, there was a pair of Nike Air Max 270 Reacts, which came in this interesting sort of purple and neon green colorway. Not a bad looking pair of sneakers, but the price was a little crazy at $40. I definitely think I could only really get like $40 to $50 for these sneakers. So as nice as these were and as good as the condition was, they just weren't worth it. Then I found this pair of Dames. There's always pairs of Dames at Plato's for some reason. Nice looking pair of sneakers, good ball shoe, but not something that really has any resale value. Continuing on, we found some Jordans. This is sort of like a Air Jordan 7 team sneaker. I don't know the exact name of this shoe, but the gray, black, and blue colorway actually isn't bad. Let me know in the comment section down below what the name of this sneaker is, like colorway and everything. I'm not exactly sure, but not a shoe that I really think has much resale value because it's not a standard retro Jordan. And for $40, I feel like that's pretty much what this shoe goes for. It's interesting. Sometimes Plato's gets the pricing exactly right, and sometimes they're way off, both in overpricing and in underpricing. You never really know what you're gonna get. There actually was this pair of LeBrons that looked really nice. They were a women's size or maybe a youth size, and the colorway was really clean on these. Now, unfortunately, I did look at comparable listings on eBay, or comps as a lot of people call them, and these shoes just were not selling for much more than what they're selling for here. I'm talking like $2 to $3 more. So because of that, as nice as these are and as good as these look, it's just not worth the pickup. Then I found a pair of Kyrie 1s, which we don't find very often, in this green and gold colorway. Nice looking pair of sneakers. I think the Kyrie 1s are one of my least favorite pairs of Kyries because it just doesn't seem like they've found that sort of Kyrie DNA yet. It's kind of like a weird, sort of like pieced together looking shoe in my opinion. I did actually find a pair of Air Jordan 1 mids in all black, and it was in pretty decent condition. They actually had it listed as a pair of Air Force 1s, if I'm remembering correctly, and the price wasn't too bad, but because it's a pair of mids, and because it's a pair of mids that you can find really in any Foot Locker right now, there's no resale value for this pair whatsoever, especially in worn condition. So because of that, I decided to leave it, and it definitely breaks my heart to leave Jordan 1s, my favorite sneaker of all time, but sometimes it has to be done. Then I found this random off-the-wall shoe. I have no idea what this sneaker is. It kind of looks like a John Geiger shoe or like a Sia Collective shoe. I'm not sure exactly what this is, but it was interesting. I'm not gonna lie, I was interested. I just didn't want to grab it because what am I gonna do with it? I found this pair of KD's 7s or 8s. I think it was the 7s. I'm not 100% sure. And then another pair of Nike Air Max Pluses. I've had trouble selling the black pair that I picked up from Plato's a couple weeks ago, so I'm just gonna leave this pair for now.
So I was actually going to Lowe's, but there's a Plato's closet right next to this Lowe's, so I figured why not stop by? And going in, there was a lot of stuff on the shelf, but nothing that I really think had a lot of potential. Like there was stuff that I could make like 10, 15 bucks on maybe, but honestly, none of it was really worth it. And I saw this one pair of Nike Air Max Pluses, which I bought 2 weeks ago or last week or whenever it was, which is a good pair of sneakers, but it still hasn't moved for me yet. So because of that, I decided to leave that one, even though it was in good condition. I found a bunch of different like Team Jordans, which weren't bad, and some decent basketball sneakers, but nothing really worth picking up. So because of that, I decided to leave with nothing. I think it's also that it's the middle of the day during a weekend. So like because of that, there's probably a ton of people there, and most of the good stuff is probably gone by now. So I'll come back in the next couple days and try it again. But right now, just nothing worth it at Plato's, which is pretty rare for Plato's.
So you can't just hit up Plato's once a week. You gotta hit it up multiple times. In fact, as many times as you possibly can, and that's what we're doing. And it seems like it was a good thing that I did because they had restocked a lot of sneakers, and the first pair that I found was this pair of Nike Air Huarache Scream Greens, I believe from 2014, in really great condition. And if I remember correctly, this is the same colorway that we picked up. No, it's not. I picked up the white and purple pair. Scratch that. I picked up a different pair of Huaraches at Goodwill, and they sold pretty quickly, so I feel like this is a pair that's definitely worth grabbing because Huaraches move, and the condition of this shoe is great, and they're a good colorway, so definitely a pickup. Obviously at Plato's, you're not going to have all winners, and there's always a bunch of just random everyday sneakers that aren't that great. Of course, we found the obligatory pair of Crazy Explosives. I believe this was a Crazy Explosive 2018s, 2017s, like the mid-top version. I don't know why we keep finding these sneakers. They're everywhere. They're great ball shoes, though. I don't know why people haven't kept them, but it's a shoe that just doesn't have any resale value, and as you guys can see, people are getting rid of them. There was, however, a pair of New Balance 990 V5s in all black. Now, unfortunately, unlike the gray pairs that we found a couple weeks ago, because this isn't sort of like the main 990 V5 colorway, this colorway doesn't move as quickly, but still a nice looking pair of sneakers, a little worn down, so I decided to leave it for now. Then I decided to hit up my favorite place in the entire store, the high-end sneaker bin, and I actually found this pair of almost brand new Nike Element React 55s. I now know. I looked it up. There was also this pair of Jordan somethings, Jordan Flight somethings. I don't know exactly what they were, but in pretty decent condition, and obviously a lot of women's shoes. You never know exactly what you're going to find in this bin. I don't know if you guys remember from a couple episodes ago, we found like 7 different pairs of Jordans, and looking back, I probably should have grabbed a couple more pairs, but it is what it is. You live and you learn, and those Bread 12s or those Flu Game 12s are one of the best pickups I've ever had on this series, so I make sure to always check this bin. There was this pair of multicolor Air Max 90s, which weren't bad, just in a smaller size, and I've never seen this colorway before, so I'm going to leave them. I did decide to go for this pair of Element React 55s. It says $30 on the tag, but as you guys will hear later on in the video, I got them for an even better price.
So I decided to hit up Lowe's again today because I'm just yard working like a fiend, and of course Lowe's is next to Plato, so of course I had to stop in again, and I ended up finding 2 pretty decent sneakers. The first pair that I got was this pair of Huaraches in, I believe, I don't know what the name of the colorway is, but it came out in 2014 and it's in excellent condition. And I got them for 20 bucks, which is not bad. And the parts of the shoe that are usually pretty worn down, like the tread or maybe the mesh or whatever material that is on the toe, is in great condition. So it's an easy shoe to clean up very quickly with some Rejuvenator, and we're good to go with those. And then the other shoe that I picked up was this pair of Nike, React Element React 87s, 55s. I don't know which one this is, whether this is a 55 or the 87s. This shoe I actually found in basically brand new condition. I mean, this shoe If it's been worn at all, it's been worn maybe once. And I found it for 30 bucks, which is kind of incredible because these sell on eBay for around 70 to 80. So honestly, that's a huge come up, especially when paired with these Hirachis. But the biggest come up of the day was that because I've shopped so much at Plato's in the last couple weeks, I actually had a discount code, I don't really know how to describe it. It's kind of like a loyalty program. You build up points with every purchase, and then you can use those points to redeem for coupons or whatever. And because I had the maximum amount of points, I was able to get a 20% off coupon code, which meant that even though the shoes that I bought were listed at $50, this one was 30 and this one was 20, because I had the 20% off coupon code, I got 10 bucks off, which means I only spent 40. So it's essentially like getting these for 20 bucks, which is really crazy. So super stoked on these pickups. Really good day at Plato's. Nothing like crazy, like no Jordans, no like really insane limited pairs of sneakers, but good pickups in great condition for a great price. And you can't do much better than that. So good day at Plato's for sure.
So somehow I got lucky on Yeezy Day and was actually able to grab a pair of sneakers. Now to be fair, it wasn't exactly the pair of sneakers that I wanted, but it's something. And as I'm sure a lot of you guys know, because I've talked about this shoe in like 2 other videos, but that pair was the Adidas Yeezy 700 V3 Dark Glows. So I grabbed this pair of sneakers for $200 flat, which brought my sneaker fund from $421 down to $221. And I noticed a lot of comments in one of my previous videos in this series when I grabbed the Electro Orange Air Jordan 1s that I wasn't adding in tax into the equation. Now to be fair, there's a reason for that. And the reason for that is that when you buy sneakers in PA, you don't have tax. So when I bought this sneaker off the Confirmed app, I paid $200 flat. And that was the same thing for the Electro Oranges and any pair of sneakers or even clothing that you buy in Pennsylvania. So just to fill you guys in on that, that's why there was no sales tax for the Electro Oranges, and that's why there's no sales tax for this pair of 700s. Now sure, is that kind of an unfair advantage if you're trying to do this in a state that charges sales tax for sneakers? Kind of. I'm not gonna lie about that. But hey, you know what? You gotta work with the cards that you're dealt, and I'm sure in other states you can get better prices on sneakers, and there's other advantages that you can have depending on what part of the country that you're in. So the plan for this pair of shoes is to get a couple videos out of it and then sell it and hopefully make a profit, a decent profit. I'm thinking like $20 to $30, which doesn't sound that decent, especially for a pair of Yeezys, but as you guys know, Yeezys just aren't moving the way that they used to. But hey, we were able to grab a pair of Yeezys for retail, so that's something, I guess. So it turns out the Adidas Yeezy 700 V3s were not that great of an investment. They did return a profit, which is always good, but it wasn't as big of a profit as I was hoping for or even expecting. Now the reason for that is honestly because I waited too long to sell them. I should have sold them as soon as I got them in. The problem is that I wanted to film content with them, and I also wanted to put them on eBay to give you guys a chance to grab them, and I was also a little greedy. If I was trying to get the largest return for them, I should have sold them on StockX because I have really great seller fees on StockX, and I probably could have made 30 to 40 bucks off of them if I had sold them the day that I got them. Now what I ended up doing was probably the wrong thing to do. I just let them sit on eBay and was getting offers for like $205 and $210, and I kept thinking, okay, maybe I'll finally get an offer for like $230 because I had them listed for $245. Well, I never did, and I finally just decided to take an offer for $210 because that was the best I was going to get, and that was more than I was going to get on StockX. So as you all know, initially I paid $200 flat for this pair of 700 V3s, and I ended up selling them for $210. And because I sold them on eBay, which doesn't have any seller's fees for sneakers that go through their sneaker authentication program or sneakers that you sell for over $100, I was able to get the full $210 purchase price. And not only that, the buyer also has to pay for shipping, and usually because eBay gives you shipping discounts, you can make like an extra $1 or $2 on top. So after paying for shipping, I ended up making $1.05 and being able to add $211.05 into the sneaker fund. Now I know that's not a great return on a pair of Yeezys, and for most people it just wouldn't be worth the effort, but for me, because I was able to get 2 different videos out of them and now a 3rd video out of them, it was worth it. And actually on the same day, I was able to sell the pair of Nike Air Max Pluses in all black. Now a lot of you might not remember because it was a couple episodes ago, but I bought this pair of sneakers for $25 from Plato's Closet. And unfortunately, because these shoes have been sitting around for so long, I ended up only taking an offer for $29. And unlike the Yeezys that went through the sneaker authentication program, because these shoes sold for less than $100, they were not eligible, and because of that, I was charged fees. So after fees and shipping costs, I was only able to add $24.84 back into the sneaker fund, which is a loss of a couple cents. Really not great. You never want to lose money, especially when you're doing a challenge like this, but it was nice to finally get this pair of sneakers out of here because they weren't going to make me money anyway. So to round off the video, we have 5 pairs of sneakers still in stock and available on my eBay store. We've got the Nike Huaraches that we picked up today for $20. We've got the Nike React Infinities, which we picked up last week with Tom for $17.99. We've got the Nike React Element 55s, which we got for $10 off for $20. We've also got the Adidas ZX 4000 4Ds, which again we picked up with Tom for $30. I think there's the most potential for profit for this shoe. I feel like this shoe could sell for hopefully 80 to 100, so we'll just have to wait and see if that one actually moves. And then finally, we've got the Pharrell Tennis Hues, which we bought for $20 weeks ago and we're still sitting on. People keep buying this shoe and then not paying for it or saying that it was the wrong size or something stupid. I'm really sick of dealing with people on eBay, I gotta be honest. And I'm just hoping that this shoe moves because it's just been a pain. It's not been worth it. So at the end of this week, we've got those 5 shoes still in stock that we just talked about. And of course, we were able to sell the Yeezys and the Nike Air Max Pluses. So in total, the sneaker collection fund is currently at $457.51. But that pretty much wraps up the episode for this week. Make sure to stay tuned till next week because I'm going to Las Vegas and doing some thrifting over there and I cannot wait. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell down below if you haven't yet, and I'll see you all in the next one.